and saw like 2 or 3 emergency vehicles just getting here. That's always fun. The first day
Oh.
the kids are back driving on the streets. I'm like,
Right.
Well,
Wouldn't
did
have been
you
safe.
see the
Correct.
helicopter too?
yeah, I wondered if you were checking where your
live.
kiddo was. 'Cause I'm
Okay.
like, okay, and we're okay.
Welcome, everybody.
It's not made for driving. So
Yeah, it's mad at me today, so I think he turned off like 360.
love it.
All right, welcome everybody to the Carmel Clay Public Library Board of Trustees meeting, January 29th, 2026. I call this meeting to order. We do have an agenda in front of us. Get a motion for the agenda.
Accept.
Second.
Okay, we got a first from Casey Wilson, second from Shao. John, if you say, if you agree, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. The agenda isn't passed. The consent agenda has the minutes from last month's Board of Trustees meetings, all the claims and warrants from last month's financial report, last month's bills list. We need a motion for that.
So
Okay, we have a first from Shao, second from Rosie. All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. No items were removed from the consent agenda. And then we're on to Bob's director's report. And Bob, you want to add some color to that?
Yes. I did mention Senate Bill 4 and Senate Bill 8 in the director's report, but we're going to pick up on that in our Board of Finance meeting and talk about that and talk about SEA 1, the bill that passed last year, the property tax bill. That to us, our major area of concern though isn't the property tax side of it, it's the local income tax side of it. So we just want to go through again the process that we're going to have to go through to do that, and the fiscal effect that it's going to have on the library. So we'll look at that in later. I did want to pick up on the December fight incident that we had, that where the police evacuated the library. We had a closure, we got media attention. But at the end of the day, 3 students were arrested, and there's a couple of bits of follow-up business that I have. The main one is working with the schools to see what we can do better to avoid situations like that in the future. So I did have the initial meeting with Dr. Grostrike. It went well. He told me they're still working through options. They're definitely planning some changes. I think one of the possible changes that's on the table is just keep them there for the day, and then they go home at regular time. So that would kind of solve, that we wouldn't have had that issue if they were doing that this last time around. But they're looking at different options, and when they have those, we're getting back together, discuss it again. When they've locked in their new plan for how they're handling ACE days, we're going to get together with them again. And on that time, I'll bring Beth with me, who's worked a lot with the high school. And Beth kind of works a lot with our staff in developing our plan of how we're handling it. And we're going to talk to them about how we think it's going to go based on what they decide. And I think they're very open to helping us more than they have in the past. I mean, we have approached the high school and asked for help. They've given it, but it seems to be a semester by semester basis. Maybe we need an MOU. Maybe we need something a little stronger with a little more longevity. And this is counterfactual, but I think it's reasonable to think that the incident may not have happened if they had shared some of their school resource officers. And if we'd had a couple of their school resource officers, there's a big difference between those officers and just the police force officers, because those school resource officers, they know all these kids, and if they had been here with us that day, maybe it could have been avoided. That's something that I would like to, have a conversation with them about, depending on, what they decide. So that's pending. Another thing that I really need to do, the 3 kids, and I'm sorry they got into this much trouble. These kids, something I communicated to Dr. Ostrike is, these kids they don't typically come to the library after school. It's because of the testing schedule and the bus schedule. They were here waiting on the bus, and they almost made it. It happened so close to, it was almost time to go get the bus, and the fight happened. So I feel like that's an example of that kind of structure can, it's not a safe situation for the kids themselves either. So it's just giving them too much latitude to get in trouble. And I pointed out to Dr. Osterreich that I'm sure he knows this, but the trouble from the way they've structured this has not been limited to the library. I mean, there's been trouble in Midtown, trouble in some of the downtown businesses. So it's not unique to us. So, but I am very hopeful that we're going to work through this and make some positive changes. I also offered to Dr. Osterreich, since I'm preparing for the city council presentation, I'd be happy to go to the school board and give a talk there. He said that he'd like to do that. He would look at the schedule and let me know. The kids, back to the kids, I am going to have to, I think they are going to need to be suspended from the library for this, but I don't have their names. So I've asked the school if they can share that with me, because I need to communicate to this, I'm not banning them for life, but I think a suspension of the school year or something along those lines is appropriate here. So all of those things. And then because this got so much interest, there has been inquiries about how we handle our camera system and all of that, which led me to ask Anne to to look into it and write a letter of recommendation to us on, our ability to do that. I don't think we want to do that, but I think you have found that even if we did want to, that we can't.
Well, and the issue comes in, and then to kind of be more specific, obviously pursuant to the library's privacy policy, it specifically states that any patron information cannot be released without a subpoena or a court order. One of the issues that came up, I think, most recently with the police department is like, well, why are you making us go through this extra step? And the reason why is because patron information, even being physically here, that's protected by the First Amendment. And the United States Supreme Court has made that very clear. So, for us to just dispense it with no standard, that's exposure to us, because a patron could sue and say, wait a minute, you violated my First Amendment rights. I didn't consent to that.
Right. And plus those First Amendment reasons, it aligns with our values and our policy and.
Well, the American Library Association is that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is based on their model policy, which again, it's interesting and I have drafted a letter. I'm just confirming some things, but when you just do the little search, I mean, the privacy policies that show up for all the various libraries. So this is not news. And I think, it's an appropriate way to go.
This is the reason I pointed out that, I mean, most public libraries in the country, you'll find similar policies
Yeah.
to ours, and that's why.
Yeah.
And I would point out, just as a caveat, that in terms of the December incident, the police, they do have all of the footage that we had is in the hands of the police, because they did subpoena us for the information.
Sure.
And we provided it. So it works. It doesn't stop them from getting what they need. It just means they have to go to that extra step. And it does prevent frivolous requests. I mean, they do have to go.
Well, I think that, and again, part of it too is what we're saying, and when you read what the Supreme Court is saying is that you treat these requests consistently into the same standard. Even if you were trying to be accommodating and say, well, today we let the police, the law enforcement have that. Next week, we make you go through the extra step. Well, that's going to be the issue of like, well, wait a minute, you're not consistent with your policy. And I think the other thing, which again, it's not my background, this is not an area of law I practice in, but if I were one of those kids' lawyers, and if that information was disclosed without the subpoena, then I would think there would be grounds to say, this doesn't meet the standards. You can't use that against my client.
Gosh, yeah.
So I think it's the better course to stay within our privacy policy.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll also point out, I mean, we were subpoenaed for the footage. We turned it over. And when I did turn over the footage, I was told, well, it's good we had this. We want to see what happened, but we really don't need it. I mean, this is pretty much we've got all this locked in, and thank you. So, you know, anytime they've needed it, we provided it, but in this case, it's not really relevant, how they handled it.
But they now have, you know, they've gotten procedurally, they complied with the criminal procedure, and if in fact they do need to use it or introduce it into court, you'll have to follow those, they'll have complied.
Thank you, Ann. Anything else on your director's report? Any questions for Bob?
And that's it.
Okay. Can we get a motion to receive the director's report? Okay, we got a first from Shao,
Second.
second from Casey. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, we received Bob's financial, his director's report. Any trustee liaison reports today?
No,
Staff reports, any staff reports? No staff reports, okay. Teen Library Council reports, I think that, they don't have a report here, but you did address that in the director's report. I think they're having some sort of event, right? Teen Council. Carl, right. Renovation update, let's get an update on the renovation, Bob.
well, branch is back in operation, so a lot of happy patrons. I was there the first day we reopened, a lot of families flooded in, people happy to be back. So that it really is a beloved kind of neighborhood library. Staff was very happy to be back. Project's not finished, as we noted, and last time around, the board voted on a closure period. It's the last week of February, and we selected an alternate date in case the weather doesn't cooperate with. I don't think that they could do the work this week just because of the cold, and not to mention all of the snow on the roof. So the weather could be a factor. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. We're still working through punch list on things, and all of the HVAC equipment is in place, but they're still doing some configuring. So I'm still waiting on that to be finished. I love the new desk. I think it looks better. It matches the look we have here with our desk, and I think it works better for the space we had over there. It allowed us to put the self-checks kind of more in the back, out of the way. As before, people were just kind of crammed in, trying to ask questions what other people were checking out, all right there at that desk. So that's going to work better. There is an issue with the surface material of the desk. We're not happy with it. It's just it's porous, and I can't remember what it is, but it scratches too easy. So we're setting up a meeting with the manufacturer just to ascertain if they think that that's of good quality. So there's a little issue there, but we'll work through that. And the desk, generally speaking, is a huge improvement just functionally over what we had before. So far, so good.
The cornice was they're supposed to remake the cornice, right? The
Right.
manufacturer.
Yeah.
Any update or any?
As far as I know, we're on schedule for that work to happen so long as the weather cooperates. We need some meltage here. It's a lot of snow up there on the roof.
But you haven't heard whether they're still on track for that or not?
They are still
They
on
are
track for that,
okay.
yeah. As far as I understand, it'll be in comfortably in time.
So we're just concerned about the weather.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other questions about that? Okay. And did you say we're gonna have a building and grounds meeting too sometime? Committee meeting? Is that set up at all? See some emails?
I think it's pending. It's next month.
Okay, so we'll keep on track of this and make sure everything, well, then like the punch list.
Oh, yes,
Kind of like what we
absolutely.
did with the main library after they were done. Staying on top and making sure all those.
Hopefully we'll have a better time this time around.
Yeah, well, never know.
We're hoping.
Okay, any old business? Any new business?
Yeah.
We do have ones, the encumbrances again, we do that every year, right?
Yes, this is just orders that we have at the end of the year that haven't been paid for, so we're moving over basically the 2025 budget into 2026.
You had a list of
And
items.
I have a list attached.
Okay. Any questions with any encumbrances, anybody? If not, can we have a motion for that? Okay, we got a first from Shao,
Second.
second from Casey. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Passes. Oh, and it is,
Oh, I just thought of something, since we had time to kill. I was gonna do this for staff reports, almost forgot at some point, but I created an amateur video myself. I interviewed our Mandy Lehman, our youth services manager, because I was trying to learn how to use our video recording room. I wanted a project so I could use the equipment. So it's about a 5-minute video of Mandy. And what I wanted her to do is kind of talk about her career just a little bit, how she got started in libraries, and then her trajectory here, her time here at CCPL. So she talks about starting here and then moving to the Marsh, and then it ends just a current encapsulation of youth services today. So I was able to cut some B-roll in, and I was just a patron. And so I just went and asked the staff down there, maybe all of them younger than my daughter, how to do all this. And they were great. I mean, they answered all my questions, they set me up, and I was able to do this. And I think that's an illustration of the power of that space, that you can go in there and ask questions. I don't think, yeah, I'm the boss. I don't think I got special treatment. That's how they work with people. How do I do this? And they'll show you. And so I could show that.
sure. See that.
Let's see.
Was this in the sound room?
This is in the video recording
Video.
room. So let's see. No matter if I get this on the recording, I wonder I could do a share. Okay. Amateur hour, Tom.
Do it.
Down. Sorry. Right there.
I'm Mandy Lehman. I'm the manager of youth services here at CCPL. My background is actually education. So I started out as a teacher and then segued into, I was a media specialist at an elementary school for several years while I was finishing my master's degree. So then when I saw this position open, I was very excited because I thought this aligns well with where I'm kind of heading. I've always kind of had, a heart for kids and connecting them with resources. So it was a good, next step for me. So I was excited. So I started January of 2017, and my position at the time was just part-time librarian. So I was excited to get that role because that was a good, me trying out my new skills as a librarian, freshly degreed librarian. So this was a great place to start. The first thing I noticed was how welcoming everyone was, and I immediately felt part of the team here. So that was a great first start for me here. And then just about a year later, I transitioned into assistant manager of the department. Very warmly welcomed in that role as well, and it was a really good fit at the time. And then soon after that, just kind of naturally segued into when the position became open for manager. I thought I was up for the challenge, so I gave it a whirl, and here I am, still doing it to this day. It's been a great fit, So when I first started the building, the first thing I noticed was how grand it was. It was not only big in its size, but it was just grand. It had so much to offer, and I was just so excited to be part of it at the time. And thinking, I loved all the warm colors, and I loved just the close-knit sense of community that we had here. And I just really embraced that. It was wonderful. So just felt warmly welcomed at the time and noticed how great it was, just lots to offer. And then, of course, our time at Merchant Square was a unique experience. I think we're all a little bit, those of us who experienced that are a little bit trauma bonded over that experience. But it was great. It was a fun little social experiment for us. The youth services area was in the old wine and cheese section, coincidentally. So that was fun. And yeah, we loved telling patrons that when they came in, when they would remember that fondly in that old space. But we made it the best and we had a great time with it. It was fun. The building sometimes had its quirks and, was falling apart quite literally around us at times, but we made it work and we had a great time. So we were all really excited to move back here, of course, brand new, shiny, beautiful space, renovated, expanded. And I think it's really just reflected our growing community. It's vibrant, it's colorful, it's engaging. We have so much to offer. I just feel like it's really it's the best of all worlds. I think it's brought, the close-knit community that we had while we were in our little space at Merchant Square. And also we brought the best of everything we loved about the building in its originality into this new space. And it's just really, reflecting all the great things we've got going on in the community. So we've got all sorts of things going on in youth services. It's a very active space. One of the things I used to describe it is busy. It's well loved, it's busy. If you come in, the first thing you might notice is just the volume of people, the noise, the enjoyment of our space. But we've got series story times happening. We've got all sorts of other exciting programs going on. We've got, things that align with our reading program, summer reading. We've got outside performers, musical programs, magicians, all sorts of fun things. We've got our exploration lab, which is our STEAM lab where kids can come and learn and grow and try things and fail and try again. And it's a safe space for them to do that. We've got programming for all ages. We serve birth through 5th grade. And then we've got a little bit of overlap with middle school. Teen Services absorbed middle school, but we also serve that 5th through 8th grade as well in some of our programming and but there are things going on any given day that we are open. So it's definitely a well-loved space. This truly is one of the biggest bits of feedback that we receive is how amazing the staff is and how attentive they are, knowledgeable, just a wealth of information, and they're ready to swoop in and help. And we just really make it our mission to make everyone feel welcome. And it's, a place where people do come and we're a destination. They come for the story time and then they end up staying for hours just for the company and to enjoy the space because it is so welcoming. So there's something for everyone to do here, and we just make sure that everyone feels welcome all the time. Because we have such a large staff, library-wide, but in youth services in particular, I feel like one of the things that makes us stand out is we have people who come from all walks of life. And so they bring all sorts of amazing experiences and bits of knowledge that they can share with the community. And I feel like we do a really good job. Something I'm really proud of is how we respond to the community's needs. So we really take an active role in listening to what it is that they want and try to accommodate that in the best way that we know how. And I'm really proud of that. We've got a lot of magic going on here. So I just lean into all the amazing things that we are doing and have on the horizon to do. And we just hope to be, a vibrant spot for the community to enjoy for many years to come. So.
Nice. Good job. I like how you put the photos in there. You put the photos,
Yeah, I've learned how to do that. It's really easy to do that. Directed by Bob Swain.
Signing autographs. Yeah.
There we go.
Documentary Oscar right there. Very nice. Very nice, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also highlights how good our staff are. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so anything else? Any other new business? I call this meeting adjourned 5:24.